poor people around the world do better, but that does not mean we have to destroy the middle class of this country to make that happen. So Secretary Clinton and I have a big disagreement on NAFTA and China. She supported that agreement, I opposed it. But let me tell you where we are today when we talk about taking on powerful special interests. And what this campaign is about is asking everybody here, everybody in this country to think outside of the box. Don't let the media tell you that's here to here. Your job is to think about what country, what kind of country you want to live in. Don't let them define what your choices are. Today in America, we have a moral economic crisis, and that is we have more wealth and income inequality than any other major country on earth. It is worse today in America than at any time since 1928. Our job is to say, why? Why did some nuclear attack take place in America? Was there a tornado that went all over America? What happened such that the middle class is shrinking? What's happening that we have 47 million people living in poverty? What's happening that we have massive wealth and income inequality? In America today, listen to this, really quite shocking. Top 0.1%, not 1%, 0.1%, a sliver of our population now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. America today, the wealthiest 20 people own more wealth than the bottom half of America, 150 million Americans. Now, this is not talked about. Media don't talk about it. Their corporate sponsors don't want to talk about it very much. But if I'm elected president, not only are we going to talk about it, we're going to do something about it. Wealth inequality. You hear a lot of Republicans in Virginia, all over this country, talking about welfare abuse, poor people cheating the welfare system. You've all heard that? Today in America, let me set you straight on this. Today in America, one family, the Walton family of Walmart, you all heard of Walmart, this one family owns more wealth than the bottom 40% of the American people. Got it? Now, it turns out that when we talk about welfare recipients, guess what? The Walton family, the wealthiest family in America, turns out to be the major welfare recipient in our country. Bernie, what are you talking about? I will tell you. Good question. Now I'll tell you the answer. Here's the answer. Think about it. This is what a rigged economy is about. This is what thinking outside of the box is about. This is what Congress, media don't want you to think about. They're worried about somebody scraping by with 2 kids, cheating on welfare. Okay, here's what you got with the Walton family. They pay wages so low at Walmart that many of their workers are forced to go on Medicaid, food stamps, and subsidized housing. Now, who is paying for those food stamps, Medicaid, and subsidized housing? You are! So on behalf of the Walton family, the wealthiest family in America, I want to thank you very much for chipping in, for helping them out. I mean, they're down to their last $60 billion. And I'll tell you, it is hard to get by in these days on $60 billion. So they appreciate all of your tax dollars helping to subsidize their workforce. But I say to the Walton family, the wealthiest family in America, get off of welfare, start paying your workers a living wage. not just wealth. I want you to think about this as well. We are, hard to believe, this is true, at this particular moment today, we are the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But, do you think anybody in America knows that? They don't know that. Why don't they know that? They don't know it because almost all of the new wealth and income is going to the top 1%. You're not thinking about this country being the wealthiest country in the world when you're working 2 or 3 jobs trying to bring in enough money to take care of your family. So here's the reality with regard to income. We got millions of people who are working longer hours for lower wages. We have people working 2 or 3 jobs. We got mom working, we got dad working, we got the kids working. We have marriages that are stressed out because people are working so hard. We have kids who do not get the attention they need from mom and dad because mom and dad are working so hard. Yet, after all of that hard work, here's something else I want everybody here to know. Japanese are very hard-working people. We work longer hours than any people in the industrialized world, including the Japanese. So our people are working incredible hours, and yet it ends up that 58% of all new income generated today. Think about it. All the people, everybody here working hard, 58% of all new income goes to the top 1%. So, are you guys ready for a radical idea? I knew you would be. And that is why we are going to create an economy that works for working families, not just for 1%. And that means that we are going to ask the wealthiest people in this country to start paying their fair share of taxes. That means that we understand that a $7.25 an hour federal minimum wage is a starvation wage. That means that we are going to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour. And I would hope that every man in this arena this afternoon will stand with the women in the fight for pay equity for women. Say something else about the economy. When we talk about unemployment, what you usually see once a month on the front pages of the papers are official unemployment, which is now nationally about 5%. 5%. Anybody here believe that real unemployment in America is 5%? Smart group, you're right. Because there's another report that you don't see so much that comes out, which looks at people unemployed and people who have given up looking for work and people who are working part-time when they want to work full-time. Add that number together, it is close to 10%. Okay? That's a lot of people unemployed or underemployed. And now let me tell you something else, which is a national tragedy that you never hear about. Zero. Almost no discussion. And that is the tragedy of youth unemployment in this country. I asked some economists to do a study for me a while back, and I said, tell me, kid graduates high school, doesn't drop out. Some kids drop out. Kids graduate high school between 17 and 20. What is real unemployment? This is what they said. If the kids are white, 33%. Kids are Latino, 36%. Kids are African American, 51% unemployed. Now, If you think that that tragedy, and I want you to think about it for a minute, put yourself in the shoes of a kid, 18, 19, graduated high school, trying to get his feet on the ground, trying to become independent, trying to become adult, trying to make a few bucks, can't do it. Year after year, you can't get a job. Now, if anyone thinks there is not a correlation between that tragedy and another American tragedy, and that is that we have more people in jail, 2.2 million Americans, than any other country on earth. If you don't see the connection between outrageously high unemployment rates for young people and the number of people in jail, you're missing an important point. So are you ready for radical idea number 2? What together we are going to do is invest in jobs and education for our young people, not jails and incarceration. And the other thing that we are going to do is when unemployment is so high, we are going to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, our roads and bridges. Now, all of you, I think, are aware of the unspeakable tragedy taking place in Flint, Michigan today with their water system. I was in Detroit a week or so ago, and I talked to some people from Flint. I don't even want to tell you what they told me because it is so horrific what is happening to the children that it was literally hard for me to imagine that I was hearing people in the United States of America talking about what's going on in terms of the destruction of that city. But it is not just Flint, Michigan. All over this country, we have major infrastructural problems with water, with transportation, with roads, bridges, etc. We can create 13 million good-paying jobs, putting our people to work, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure. People say, well, we're going to invest $1 trillion in roads and bridges and water systems. That's a lot of money. Where are you going to get the money? I'll tell you where we're going to get the money. Right now, this is how crazy this rigged economy is. Right now, you have corporations making billions of dollars a year in profit, stashing their money in the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, and in other tax havens, and in a given year, after making billions in profit, they pay zero in federal taxes. Well, under my administration, they're going to start paying taxes. We're going to use that money to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, and we're going to put our people back to work. Now, in this campaign, I have talked about things that are unpleasant in America because I believe that we don't go forward unless we deal with reality. What I've talked about is a corrupt campaign finance system in which billionaires, literally billionaires, are buying elections. Now, my opponent has a super PAC receiving millions and millions of dollars from Wall Street. Now that's fine, but I made a decision. I don't want Wall Street money. I don't believe in Wall Street money. We have done it in a way that is revolutionizing campaign financing in America. What people have always said, what the media says and what the experts say is, look, the only way you can raise money is go begging billionaires for money. It's the only way you can compete. I chose not to do that. And this is what we did. Listen to this, because this is really unbelievable. I never in a million years would have thought we could have accomplished this. In the last 9.5 months since we've been in this race, we have received over 4 million individual campaign contributions.